Today, I'm going to tell you exactly how I plan to make big money from the election narrative in November. Right now, we're in August, which means we're still really early into this narrative, and we have an opportunity to get big gains before the masses latch onto this narrative in October. So today, I'm going to tell you how I plan to play this narrative. Step by step, you're getting my full plan. Nobody on crypto YouTube has made a video like this. I've already checked, so it's really important that you watch it all, and remember that nothing here is financial advice. So for the election narrative, we know that the 5th of November is the ultimate day where everyone will be looking towards. And when you have a situation where the day of the narrative is set into the future, it's crucial to make sure you exit at the right time, because we already know that we're in a key accumulation zone for the market. So that means we need to prepare well ahead before all the normies and have a clear plan set weeks in advance for this narrative. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 major examples of sell the news events in crypto and share the formula I've come up with that tells us when to buy and when to take profit. The first example I'm going to share with you is the Cardano Alonso upgrade of 2021. Now, the interesting thing about ADA is it actually topped really early the cycle in 2021. Meanwhile, the bull market raged on in other things until November and December. So that's why this video will be crucial for you, because you're going to learn how to take profit on individual coins themselves. So with Cardano, here's how the sell the news event worked. First, some interest is generated around 40 days prior to the event date, the Alonso upgrade, which was set to take place on the 12th of September 2021. Interest started in around early August. So remember that number. 40 days prior to the narrative date, it started pumping. And that's going to matter for when we build our own plans regarding the election narrative. The pump started getting really aggressive around 25 days before the narrative was set to take place. And it only lasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days before it entered its top range for the cycle. In my opinion, ADA started its distribution phase 20 days before the narrative date of September 12th. Remember that number right there. 20 days is when you were supposed to start taking profit on ADA's pump due to the Alonso upgrade event. The second example I'm going to show you really quickly is the BRC20 narrative, if you remember that from earlier this year. The Bitcoin ETF date was set for January 10th, and it really started taking off around 40 days prior to that date. BRC20s and ordinals started really taking off. The Bitcoin ETF date was set for the 10th of January. BRC20s and ordinals started really taking off around 40 days prior to the narrative date. Again, it's 40 days. The pump accelerated around 30 days before the narrative date, and it topped exactly 21 days before the actual day of the event. A lot of ordinals also topped on this day as well, exactly 21 days before the actual Bitcoin ETF approval date. Finally, one more example I'm going to show you is the AI narrative we had this year. I saw this one catch out a lot of people, so it's important to look back and see how it topped. So we can use that for this future narrative, which is the elections. The AI narrative was based on the NVIDIA conference on the 20th of March. AI coins started pumping around 34 days before the 20th of March and started pumping aggressively 14 days before the 20th of March. Interestingly, the final pump only lasted around 4 days before it started topping. And in this is a huge lesson to take away from that, which I'll share with you in a bit. But again, the key takeaway is it topped 10 days before the actual narrative date. Sometimes if you're lucky, the narrative and market conditions will be strong enough to give you another pump closer to the actual narrative date. But something crucial you'll have to do is make sure you do not get caught out holding things after the main narrative has already fizzled out. Otherwise, you're in big trouble. BRC20s and ordinals went down minus 90%, minus 95%. And the worst thing that can happen to you is when you look at a coin you're holding and ask, what's going to bring these coins back? Getting stuck in a bad narrative is not something you want, because it really can make you waste an entire bull market. I know that's what happened to a lot of people in 2023 with narratives like GambleFi, Layer 2s, Perpetual Dexes, etc. In Cardano's case, if you didn't sell around here, you were in big trouble. A lot of people wait for Cardano to come back up to give them one more final pump stick to sell. but it never came. And that's exactly how they end up round-tripping the entire cycle. So let's put all this together to bring you some real alpha that no one else on YouTube is talking about. When you have a narrative that's in the future at a predetermined date, the interest and hype usually picks up around 40 days before. The most aggressive pumps can come either 2 to 4 weeks before the actual narrative date. It all depends on the market conditions. But something you cannot forget is the most aggressive final pumps come right towards the end. Look at ADA's final pump, it only took 6 days. Nvidia narrative, 5 days. Bitcoin ETF took about a week, and then the music stops. And that makes total sense when you consider it from a psychological perspective and how people get FOMO as the prices climb higher. The last bit of key information is it's too risky to hold coins into the actual narrative dates. You have to start considering taking profits 10 to 20 days before the actual date itself. So if we apply all of this to the election narrative, we get to build up a picture over here. Election-related coins should start pumping roughly 40 days before November 5th. So that would mean towards the end of September for us. Around 20 days before November 5th, you start your system of DCAing out. The more aggressive the pumps be into this red line, which is October 16th, the more aggressively and quicker you DCA out. And with this, you basically have a map of how to play the entire narrative. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to really drill down on exactly what I'm doing to make a lot of money off this narrative. I'm going to share my exact thought process right now in real time. So right now, let's take a look at the context of the market. Firstly, I've got a good feel for the pulse of crypto YouTube. And just by looking at my own views, other big YouTubers' views being down 60% on average, it's a good sign that this is a really good accumulation zone. You already know that it's best to buy when people aren't interested in crypto anymore. And to be honest, I'm not surprised. I knew this was going to happen back in March, but people didn't want to listen. But for those of you who stuck around watching this video, we now get access to cheap prices with low attention. Even with the recovery that Bitcoin had, the sentiment on altcoins hasn't been good. But what people don't realize is that this is one of the major key accumulation zones of the 4-year cycle. In fact, based on history, this has happened in the last cycles. This is literally the last chance you get to accumulate at cheap prices. Now, I know a lot of you see these last chance to buy altcoins videos every week for the past 6 months, but in terms of on a weekly time frame and looking at this chart, this really is kind of the last major accumulation zone before altcoins rip and we get the alt season. That's entirely visible in the others BTC chart. I've already made a video on this, but basically what the pattern is Bitcoin bottoms first, and then altcoins will continue bleeding against Bitcoin. Then altcoins go on a nice long rally, and then they have a really severe correction. And if you look, this exact same pattern has happened in the last 2 cycles, and it's happening again right now where Bitcoin bottomed first. Altcoins didn't bottom against Bitcoin until later on. Then they went on a nice extended rally and had a severe pullback. And then they go on a mega run against Bitcoin, which is the life-changing alt season. So we know right now people have left the market, views are down, sentiment is awful, and a lot of people were shaken out during the price action of the last 3 months. And when you combine this with the fact that historically, this is the time to be accumulating, you begin to get a sense for how much opportunity is in the current market right now. And one of the best ways to capitalize on that is with the election narrative. So here's the plan, not financial advice. You accumulate when people are scared, when prices are down minus 75% and the narrative isn't too hot. You continue holding as it pumps, and you DCA out as the masses start getting in and the large daily green candles start appearing. If you actually know anyone else on YouTube who's making videos like this, detailing strategies and playing narratives early, please let me know because I would love to watch them. So here are the key dates with the upcoming election narrative. And I really don't see how you can fade or ignore this narrative when you consider how much attention the US elections get around the world. The presidential debate could lead to a test pump and sell-off later this month in August, but the real move should come sometime in October. The main meme coin to play this narrative is of course the Trump token. There's no secret that it's the leader of the sector. But let's talk price predictions. I would be really surprised if this token does not at least break its all-time high. Let's say you accumulate an average price of $5 and it goes to $25 conservatively and you hit a 5x. You now have the opportunity to compound that 5x into another 4x this cycle and you have a 20x. When you have a narrative that's this powerful and obvious, I would not fade it. But of course, it's all meme coin related, so you have to manage your risk in that regard. The good thing about this narrative is it's not overly consensus. Not many people have dedicated a section of their portfolio to the election narrative. I've also checked among the big channels. Even Alex Becker's video over here where he literally says, buy the elections, he barely mentions Trump coins. In fact, he even says meme coins are too degenerate for him to talk about. Mark my words, at some point in this bull run, he will make a video about meme coins. This is a key time to be accumulating and researching new tokens and projects with fresh narratives for the next leg of the bull market. I've said this for a while, that this is perhaps the final accumulation zone, and that's why I believe you should try out my premium service. See what coins I accumulate for the next 1 to 2 months, and if you like it, stay in. There's going to be certain key periods in the market where you need as much quality key information as you can get your hands on, and this is one of them. So if you want to join before I increase the prices as the market heats up, be sure to get it now. The link to it will be in the pinned comments. Trump is going to be my main play for the election narrative, but there's going to be some interesting low caps to play as this narrative starts becoming the main one. Thanks for watching.